evening, everyone. I'm Rohit Dev, your evening host and a management trainee at Adore. So, before we dive in, let me give you a quick glimpse into Adore. Adore is a global network of students and young professionals like ourselves, all passionate about inspiring youth to make a positive impact. We connect you with established professionals and offer a platform to learn from their journeys. Now, on behalf of Team Maverick and Adore, we are thrilled to welcome you to this chitter chit session on unconventional paths, how I built my career without a perfect transcript. To make this session even more engaging, we kindly request everyone to switch on their cameras. And now, the moment we all have been waiting for. Our esteemed guest speaker for tonight is Ms.Philana Swart. Ms.
Hi,
Philana Swart is
everyone.
a credit Ms. Philana is a credit controller at OneCall24. Ms. Philana, it's a true honor to have you with us today. We all are eager to gain valuable insights from your expertise. Ms.
Thank
Philana, the
you.
floor is yours. You may continue.
Thank you so much, everyone. It's always so nice to be here. So when I think of the word unconventional, you can stop me whenever if the meaning differs, but unconventional means to me unique, without social. Oh, let me just, sorry, I'm having technical difficulties here. I see. Please excuse me. Okay, good. So basically, unconventional paths. This is how I built my career without the perfect transcript. Now, I know that, our parents always want us to be the best, just get A's, have cum laude, everything like that. But it's not always possible for everyone, unfortunately. And basically, I'm giving you guys a bit of insight how I built my career to what it is today without that perfect transcript. So when I looked up the word unconventional, it said it's an adjective and it means basically free in character, action, and it's not bound by social conventions. Now, I asked around in my office a bit, I don't understand a lot about social conventions because I, for one, was not raised according to what is socially acceptable. And my manager, whom is Indian, he said, well, obviously for, let's say the people in Japan or in China where they're 4 years old and they basically need to learn how to write and they need to get the best of the best, if not, they get shunned from society, which it's so sad to listen to all of that because it's not always possible. So let me start and give you a little bit insight of how I started with a bad transcript and how I got to where I am today. So basically, my transcripts, we're going to start in 2019. This is basically where I matriculated. Take note on my end exam, I failed physical science. I got only 28%, which did not look good at all. The day I had to go get my report and I had to go to my mom and dad and say, listen, this is what I got. Even though I studied for it very, very hard, it was just not for me. I never understood it no matter what I did. Then on top of that, I got 45 for math, pure math. And I remember for the 3 years between grade 10 and matric, my teacher came to me after every single test. And I'm not being dramatic. This is what she did. She would, before handing me my test, she would ask me, are you sure about this? Don't you want to leave math? So it was a constant that it kind of felt like, you know what, you're not good enough, just leave, just leave. She didn't want to help me. So take note of like this. You get people who are right-sided and you get people who are left-sided. I never understood what that meant, but basically a left side person, the left side of the brain, they're very logical, they understand numbers, very to the point, where people who are right-sided are more creative. You can explain things in color, so for me, who apparently is pure right-sided, numbers did not make sense to me at all. After that, I had no people skills. I never had. Believe it or not, I'm an introvert. I could not look people in the eye when speaking to them. Um, my social battery got drained so quickly. So imagine being in a class for, well, let's say from 8 o'clock in the morning until 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I was drained at the end of the day. And it got to a point where it was so bad that I had to stay a whole weekend just in my room where I was the most comfortable just to properly recharge from a day at school. Now, the thing is, a lot of people would say, oh, but is that really something you put on your transcript? I'm like, well, if you go to an interview and you can't look the person asking you a question in the eye and you feel shy and that's going to be part of your transcript because what you bring to the table, I see that as a transcript, not just your degree or whatever. I mean, you can be the smartest person in the room, but no one would know that if they can't hear you speak. Um, and I had
Hello.
no knowledge of working on a computer because I preferred books and art over electronics. So I don't know if there's people my age born in the 2000s. So this is where, TV became a big thing and we started getting the cell phones. Um, have you experienced that when you tell someone, oh no, listen, I'm a bookworm, and they look at you like this? And they're like, what? What are you talking about? Don't you know about Instagram and Snapchat? And they kind of look at you like you're a bit strange. So, yeah, this was my transcript that I was able to bring to the table in 2019. And even though it did not matter so much at this point, I still felt bad about what I could bring to the table. Um, so, this is
Okay,
where
ma'am.
I just,
I have a as it is a
oh,
chitter chat session, so I want to ask a question. Like I want to know something from you. Like,
yes, please.
so sorry to interrupt, but still I want to know something before
No
you begin
problem.
further. Like, what motivated you to do this transcript or take a unconventional path? Like, what was the actual motivational drive or force?
Oh, right there, going in personal, eh? So, I never had a good relationship with my mom because she was, when I say narrow-minded, don't take offense, but I meant it was right or not, black and white, there's no gray. Where my dad, he kind of raised me, the eldest daughter, to be very open-minded, as in, whatever you do with your life, he will not have a say, he will never judge, but he taught us, well, inspired his daughters to make sure that as a woman, number one, you will finish school. I remember every time that I told him, listen, my teacher told me, you know, um, leave math. He just said, no. Why? Yes, so she's doing poorly, but she's not failing. So he didn't quite understand the motivation after my teacher. And even though it was embarrassing, and I did not see his point back then, I do now. So the way I was raised, I kind of felt like, you know what, there's not a lot of young people that has that support structure. And I kind of wanted to share it. Um, Even though, I don't have my own kids as yet, but maybe I can share it with the next young person and the next one and hopefully create a little ripple effect. So for me, it's that motivation of, you know what, you can inspire, even if it's just one person, that one person can inspire another. So that motivation to help, that's what makes me chose this because a lot of young people are just giving up. And it's so sad. Why are you giving up? Yes, you're not the best. So what? I don't know if like in my previous webinar, there's so many resources available. Um, so I hope to one day have inspired, and that's how I inspire myself. This is how Adore inspires me. Like, it's like, oh, yes, a place where young people are inspiring each other, like, woohoo. So, yeah, that's why it was so intriguing when I saw this, and you guys inspire me. So yeah, that's my inspiration why I chose this
Okay,
because
ma'am. That
yeah.
means your dad was your motivating force, and like from him, you got this idea like believe in yourself. whatever happens, I should stay focused on my path, right? Like the
Ab Absolutely. And it can be anyone. It doesn't necessarily, I know a lot of young people lost their parents at a young age. Be your own inspiration. Make your own inspiration. Write it on a mirror. That's the thing. Get inspiration. Don't just give up.
thank you. That
No
helped.
problem. No problem. Yeah, that was actually such a deep question. I had to think about that. So yeah. So when the next slide is basically going to be on where I started to think to myself, you know what? Just leave the transcript. What is a transcript? It's not me. It's not my personality, what I'm good at, my talents. It's just a piece of paper that the world wants to see. So in 2020, I kind of made a big jump to what I'm used to as my comfort zone and, you know, the comfort zone, not being able to talk to people, to the exact opposite. So I decided to start study arts. And obviously, there, everybody knows artists can talk and they can inspire and they can argue. Well, not argue, I would say constructive debate. And so obviously, I learned a bit on how to talk better to people, to speak my own mind a bit more. And I decided, you know what? I'm gonna go get my first job just to build experience. And it was in a bar, which for someone who just came from being very introverted, I was properly outside my comfort zone. But because I wanted to make that change, I really performed, believe it or not, because for me, I always put my best and a little extra into anything I do. So I kind of had this job for 2 years and I became a senior bartender. I was earning about 60 Rand an hour, which was like double the normal market related salary back then for a bartender. And I only got this job, believe it or not how I presented myself, nor how good I was at doing like my little probation period of a week. It's because they were actually desperate. And so this kind of, it felt like it was, a divine intervention, like, I got you. Let's give you those jobs. Let's see what you can do. Now,
Okay, well,
after,
like
yes.
as you shared like your experience like working in your bar, working in the bar for the first time, being an introvert. So I want to ask you like when you went like for your first job in the bar, like bar is a place where different kinds of people visit. Like so many are like very outspoken, outrageous. Some are having like no morale. So how did, as an introvert, did you deal with such kind of people? Like, what were your experience? Could you share some experience with us?
Wow. So I remember my first week, which was the probation period. It was definitely, it was draining. And I felt like giving up every single day because, like, how am I going to be able to do this every day? And I still had that thing of, when you raised your voice at me to kind of look down at the floor, not to make eye contact. And something happened, obviously, because they're so different people and stuff. And this guy actually made a comment and he asked me, well, you're so well spoken. The way I talked was not, hashtag LOL and stuff like that. It was very deeper, understanding of talking. And he asked me, what am I doing here? And I couldn't answer him. To be honest, I'm like, I actually don't know. And it kept me going to think, you know what? This first job, even though they were desperate, was a chance for me to create a new transcript. Yes, school was over and I was studying and everything, but I have a chance to recreate a new transcript. So again, that was a different sort of motivation, and I faked it. I'm just gonna be go out there. As an introvert, I faked being comfortable talking to people. I just faked it. Even now, I do still struggle speaking to people, but I fake it. I just think to myself, you know what? You're the only one in the room. Make as if you're talking to yourself in the reflection, but you fake it until you make it. It's tiring, but it's rewarding at the same time. Not always instantly, but it is. I saw someone ask a question. Oh my goodness. Technical difficulty again. Sorry, guys. I saw someone ask a question, what decided me to take my first job, but at a bar? Um, yeah, the thing is, it was close to home, and I've always been taught to be independent. I know there's a lot of cultures out there that a woman needs to stay at home, not do. Oh my goodness, it's times like these that keep you humble. I was talking and talking. Oh my goodness. Sorry, did something happen on my side? Everyone can still hear me.
I think we had a technical glitch. So,
It was a technical
sorry.
glitch.
Yeah, sorry for the
Okay.
inconvenience. Ma'am, you can continue.
It happens to the best of us.
Yeah. Please, when you're sharing your experience, please, you can continue.
No problem. So, why I chose this first job, because it gave me that little taste of independence, which for everyone is, making your own money. Even though it's little, you get to decide what to do with it. So, I guess that was for me why I chose this first job. Not just because of the easy money, but also because I know that I can reap the rewards later. Like the previous question I was saying, I was forced to adapt, becoming well, I'm still an introvert, but like I had to adapt to fake it so good that you would not say it. Um, so yeah, it was a very interesting experience. And I loved it. Later on, it was so easy for me to go in, greet everyone, be everyone's friend. So I reaped that reward of being able to have a proper conversation with someone. Obviously, conversations in a bar are not highly intellectual. They talk about weather and stuff. But later on, it really helped me. So after 2020, I, well, in 2021 to September 2022, due to a friend knowing a friend in the bar, I got my second job. It was as a basic administrator at a courier company. So, Aramex, which is international, they have a subcontractor called Postnet. And basically, here you just copy, print, and you give someone their parcel. But because I had adapted to easily speak to people, again, I reaped the reward in the little interview they had just to know what experience. I told them I had none. I still did not know how to use Excel, which obviously they used there. Um, but I showed them that I'm willing to because I told her if I'm willing to fake being extroverted, imagine what I'm willing to do if someone actually invests something in me, like invest a skill, invest an opportunity to teach me what I would be able to do. And again, because they were fairly small, they said, you know what, give her a chance. And in a week or two, I learned the basics of Excel because it was a continuous investment in me to be taught that. And I excelled it, and I got such a lovely reference. I kind of got hooked on that feeling from, woohoo, I got something right again, and not all jobs are the best. I can't tell you how many times you got shouted at because why is my package late? Why is my package damaged? Look at the quality of this print. Not all jobs are the best, and dealing with people will always have a toll on you. So, yeah, this was my first proper job where you got your insurance and where you got your UIF and stuff like that. So I got hooked on that feeling to be able to get something done. I don't know if you guys can relate to first job or something like that. Um, yeah, is there any questions that someone would like to ask about this job I got in 2022?
Yes, ma'am. We have
Yeah,
a
ma'am.
question in the chat box.
I,
We have a question in the chat box.
Ooh, chat box. Let's see. It's not okay. Your first two jobs have completely different environments. Yes. So how you adapt to the new environment at your second job. So let me talk about the similarities first, and then I'll tell you how I adapted to the differences. So obviously the similarities still was dealing with people, good and bad. So obviously from a bar to a courier company, you still had that negative side where people complain about something you gave them, either drink or package or bad, quality print and stuff. So when I took that similarities, it was kind of nice to move away from the first job to a second job where there was something new. I don't know about you, but I get bored quite easily if I'm not challenged. So for me, I saw the difference in environment as a new way to be forced to adapt to something different. I mean, that's what it all is all about, adapting. So, well, we can say surviving, I guess, because that's what the human body is so nicely able to do, is to adapt. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I would not be able to stand the heat. I come from a place where it's cold, it snows. So you can use that in skill based as well. We are made to adapt. So it was a challenge, and I love a challenge. It gives me adrenaline rush. So that's how I adapted to the different environment again. I saw it as a challenge to be met. Yeah. Oh, you guys are such interesting
Yeah.
questions. um, ooh. So in September 2022, when I only worked at the courier company for a year, I got the chance to get a new job at a medical billing company. So how this company basically worked is they took in 20 people at a time, and as the months go by, they lessen and lessen because they want the cream of the crops. So when you go for your interview, it had two processes. The first one, you just basically talk about, you know, yourself, what experience you have, and why you want to be there. After that, the second interview process is with the directors. So again, being someone that just learned how to look people in the eye and talk, imagine talking to someone with such a heavy title to their name, and there were three of them. And they asked you where you saw yourself in 5 years. What skills are you willing to learn? And what are you willing to invest in yourself? And I told them in 5 years, I told them I haven't thought that far. Nevertheless, I haven't thought that far, as in a year later, where do I see myself? So it was kind of, again, you're being forced to adapt, because now you need to reflect. That was the challenge. You need to start to reflect because they want to know. They don't want to invest short term in something and then in a year you're leaving. Back then, I didn't know I was going to move from inland to the coast. So I said, well, in 5 years, maybe I can open my own business, because back then well, it's part of the bad transcript. I dropped out of uni twice. The first time my dad paid, the second time I paid for it myself. I moved over from arts to finance because I started to enjoy working with numbers. And I had a little devil on my shoulder telling me, you know what, your teacher, your math teacher told you, you suck at math. Let's show her wrong. So again, I forced myself to be good at numbers. Um, yeah, and the company wanted very young, very driven individuals because seniors sometimes have that mindset, and I can be wrong. Please stop me. This is only opinionated of what I see. Seniors have the same mindset of, you know, don't be driven. Just show up, do what you have to do, as basic as you had, because it's be cautious. It's safe to do the minimum and collect your paycheck and go home. And I'm like, oh, that's sad. I won't be able to do that because you need to learn something new. Imagine doing the same thing for 30 years. Let's say being in a post office, just stamping, stapling, giving it to someone for 30 years. I would be driven up the walls. So I told them that. I told them, but this is something new. And because they work with such a vast diversity of different doctors, I remember I had three different environments, all neatly tied in a bow. We called them books. So in this job, my first one, I had to do the emergency room of a hospital. My second doctor was a social worker. And my third one was a prosthetist and an orthotist. The first two, not so difficult, though a social worker was something new because you had to talk to moms and dads and aunts and uncles about a very sensitive situation. So they were fairly professional about it. Um, the emergency department was quite diverse because everybody knows in an emergency department, there's not one shift that has the same things happening. But I have to say, the orthotist and prosthetist really touched my heart. And the reason being is he imported all of his, what do you call it, products, his arm slings, his gel leg sleeves, compression stockings, everything from Germany and Mexico. Very high grade silicone materials, the best. But he helped people in rural communities. So imagine trying to phone someone from a rural community, telling them why it's so expensive what they were given, because the job I had and the doctor that I had to do it for was two different things because I had to get the money, but he had such a small heart, as in, you know what? It's only from Mexico. What is that? Please, here's something to help you. And he really was also part of that inspiration. Like, he did not care about the earthly things, he cared about helping. And I can't tell you how many times he made a difference in someone. And I was like, you know what? That's what we need to strive to. And that's what I'm going to strive to. Forget the, oh, well, don't get me wrong, earthly things sometimes help you to inspire, but it shouldn't be the basics to inspire. So basically, here I also learned you need to be good at selling yourself to a company in the sense of, you know what, I'm going to tell you why you as a company need me to work for you. It's a, let's call it a bluff. You need to tell them, yes, I don't have Excel experience, but I'm so willing to learn that I won't only do Excel, I will do PowerPoint and Microsoft. And, you mentioned you tell them you're your own sales rep. You need to tell them why they need you. Because if they invest in you, you just reinvest into your position and it will always be a win-win. So here, my partner moved to the coast and I left. And in 2023, last year, September, I got an interview with a UK based company. So, another environment adaptation in Afrikaans, which is my mother tongue, being straightforward is polite. With them, it's the exact opposite. So I had again to adapt into selling myself to this company, telling them, listen, this is why you need me, but in how they wanted to hear it. I had to sugarcoat everything. And I had to do it at the back of my car because this company here wasn't supposed to know about this because I sold myself as in 5 years, I'm going to open my own company. So again, it was adapting and very quickly because I had the interview in my car in August. Again, like what happened today, I had such technical difficulties. I opened my Teams twice, so I echoed everywhere.
Ma'am, hello, ma'am.
Yes. Oh, sorry, I'm reading the
Yeah,
the
ma'am,
chats.
you can answer that question first, and also I have a question to ask to you. So,
Okay, so we'll answer this. Okay, no
yeah,
problem. So it said you have switched your job 2 times, so surely there were ups and downs. So how you managed to keep yourself motivated? Yes, there were many ups and downs. So moving from the courier company to the new medical billing company, I had one interview before I got this medical. So this interview I got was at a firm, what do you call it? At lawyers. So it was at their firm just to be someone that types and stuff. And when they told me, but listen, I don't think a lot of people are gonna look at you because you only worked in a bar and you only worked at a courier company, so that was a major slap in the face. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? Start thinking of doing the courier thing for the next 10 years because they are right. Who's going to look at this? I have no experience doing anything. I don't have educational experience that stands out. And that happened quite a lot where I thought to myself, you know what? Maybe I should just settle and do it for the next 10 years. A lot. I thought about it a lot more than thinking to change. And when I got the interview at the medical company, I kind of just felt, you know what, just go. It's good to just get experience for your interview, but you're not going to get it. They're not going to look at you. But I had to keep myself motivated because climbing that career ladder is something number one, you will always do by yourself. There will not be the best mom, the best dad, there's going to be no one that's going to do it for you. And I had to motivate myself to say, well, pick yourself up, dust yourself off, just try again tomorrow. It's going to be draining, but luckily you get 8 hours of sleep. You know, you're not dead yet. There's no reason for you to stop now. And you're young. You need to work towards something. So, yeah, I just reminded myself you're in this, not in this together with someone. It's you, yourself, and you. That's it. So, yeah, it's very hard. It's self-discipline out and out. Yes.
thank you,
Any
ma'am. So,
friend
No
ma'am,
or
problem.
you may go Rohit.
okay, I have a question, ma'am. Like till now, we have how far we have known you. We saw that you were a kind of person like who has always like changed her path in like lots of different new areas. So, ma'am, I want to ask that like, what skills or lessons have you learned that you feel you wouldn't have on a more traditional path? Like if you had followed a more traditional path, what different thing you hadn't known yet? Like at present, like who the person you are as a person.
If I had to go a more traditional
Yeah, yeah,
path,
yeah, yeah.
I would be, I would have kind of just fit in. I would stay, get a job. My first job would be the job I have until I retire. And I'll do kind of the same that every other person that did,
So, ma'am,
and
Like,
Yes.
yeah, you said that you would do the in the traditional way, right? So now, as you are not a traditional person, not following the traditional way, so how do you think it has made a difference in your life, like at present? How do you feel?
It made me be able to think on my toes. And that's a valuable skill, I can tell you, in any job that you can use. The most valuable, just be able to think on your feet. Because if you can think on your feet quicker than the smartest person in the room, automatically you will be the smartest person in the room. And it's not about putting your transcript, which is perfect, by the way, in their faces. It's showing something you can't put on a transcript. And that's the nice thing of going the unconventional way, is being able to think on your feet. Where a traditional way does not teach you that at all. It will never. So that's why I want to continue, and I will never not go the unconventional way,
Like, we
ever.
know our true identity, right? We know our potential. We know the true our true identity, like who we are. We
Absolutely. Absolutely. So thinking on your feet will differ from person to person. So you will always be unique when thinking on your feet. Isn't that nice to show who you are without showing, here's my transcript? Everybody has a transcript. Woohoo. What is that going to do for your life ahead? It's not going to show you, you know, hi, I'm Rohit, or hi, I'm Priya. It will show you, listen, I'm a number, and this is what I've accomplished in my life, academically, professionally. Everybody can do that, but not everybody can follow that unconventional way because it's hard. It's unpredictable, to be honest with you. And that's scary. And a lot of people don't want scary, they want predictable. And I just can't do that. Not since I got a taste of that rewards you can get from not following the traditional way.
thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
No problem.
I guess we have one more question from someone. Priya, you're going to
Uh,
ask something, right?
I'm going. I want to ask you that, as you have said that there is no support from family for you. So in this bad time, there may be someone who has supported you, like a positivity who has given you. So who was him or her?
So when I said no support, I did not mean as in there was no one in my life. I meant that they could not help you climb that ladder. Yes, you had positive input, you had your negative input, which is also needed, because it's called, I see it as, if whatever you tell me negatively, I'll take as constructive criticism, because there's something about how I do something that bothers you, that you feel you need to tell me. That's fine, I'll take it. But it's not like your mom can put her on your back, on her back, and climb the ladder for you. Um, and there's some people, and it's sad, they don't even have that base structure of someone giving them positive feedback. So, like I said, when I said self-discipline, yes, you will always get someone that assists you, helps you, a stranger, family, whatever, but it's still your own. I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it and do something with it. It's still your own decision. I mean, you can have the best support structure in your lifetime, in anyone's lifetime, but if you don't take it and do something with it, it means nothing. But my dad, because he's so open-minded, also does not follow the traditional ways. He said, you know what? It's okay. If you want to curl into a little ball and cry, you cry your heart out, but you have to go to work in an hour again.
So your
Yes, no, please continue.
so your dad is your support system in your career journey. You want to say this.
Absolutely. So with my first little webinar, he was so excited, like a sports fan, like, yes, you're doing something, PowerPoints and stuff like that. Woohoo, I want to see and stuff. And because he did not actually understood that it's a different timeline than what we are used to, he missed it. And he felt so bad. I said, don't worry, there's something like YouTube. And again, he's like, yes, I will go watch it. It's for him like binge watching a series because he wants that open-mindedness and not just looking at me because I'm doing this stuff, but he's looking at different young people. He too works with young people, believe it or not. He works in a college where he is white, all the other people around him are Black people coming from poor communities, rural areas and stuff. He does not see that. He dances with them to their music if they're writing exams and stuff because he wants to give them that environment to be themselves. So
So you can
yeah.
invite him in this session.
I did, but he was also busy in a conference, believe it or not.
Next time we'll plan according to his schedule also, so he can also watch you doing something new and different.
No problem. I'll even tell him, listen, go watch the other people. It's not about just the fact that I'm his child, just the fact that there's young people inspiring each other. That's what gets him motivated. And I want to be that too.
That's very good. You may continue.
No
Thank you.
problem. No problem. So here, I did not know how Microsoft Teams worked. So I had a big boo-boo, opened Microsoft twice, echoed, and I felt this interview was so bad. They're not going to pick me because I can't work with technology. And I got a call from the chief financial officer, the CFO. Congratulations, you got the job interview. And I looked at him and by the way, I thought this job was a scam. And I was laughing at him. I was like, what? Did you know what happened in the car and everything? He said, yes. But the thing that stood out was the fact that you thought on your feet. Instead of using my laptop, then I quickly used my phone, download the app and stuff. And I said, listen, I'm going to do it on my phone now. It's going to be easier. It's not professional, but it was easier. And I still got the job done. He said that's what they wanted, people to think on their feet. So this is where I moved to Durban. So we kind of worked an hour to 2 hours ahead of the UK. Again, I needed to adapt because I'm used to working from 7 o'clock in the morning till 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So imagine moving to a place where I need to now start working at 11 in the morning and only going home at 8 at night. It was a big thing to adapt. I'm not a morning person, hence I love doing these video conferences in the afternoon because today I slept until 12. And obviously the communication thing again, Afrikaans, it's polite to get straight to the point. English, not so much. I was called into the HR office twice because the director that I dealt with did not appreciate my tone in an email because I was very straightforward. Because for me, a director has enough on their hands. They don't need to read an essay. Give them the facts, give them the figures, done and dusted, because you also have your job to do. And I had to continuously explain, but the culture difference, it's not that I'm being rude, it's the culture difference. So what I did is, I said, you know what? Let's chat GPT. Let's fake it again. So instead of writing my emails out of my own head, I used ChatGPT, a resource open to anyone because it's free. And I've been writing my emails to that director only using ChatGPT. I had to adapt, think on my feet again, how to please this person, because obviously their title does give them some advantages. I just use ChatGPT. Oh, yes.
You are quite honest. You are telling us that you have used ChatGPT.
Absolutely. And I don't feel ashamed doing it because if you think on your feet, you need to use any resource you can get your hands on, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I know for a fact that there's schools that are teaching the kids how to write good essays using ChatGPT. Not writing it as in we're going to mark you on it. You're going to learn how to take whatever ChatGPT gave you, think on your feet when you're writing exam with pen and paper, and just putting in the title or whatever you're working with into whatever you learned via ChatGPT, so that your marks reflect good on us. I know for a fact that I have a younger sister, she's 17, they do that. And I was shocked. I wrote everything pen and paper, and it was hard because each and every time you written your English or Afrikaans exam and you had to write a little essay, you need to think from scratch. So I absolutely believe in using. I do not do it with everyone because clients, again, they differ. I have Romanians that I speak to, case managers. So obviously, again, when you're talking about a case manager, the healthcare process differs from a Romanian to a UK. We have a little branch in America. Again, different. So there you are forced to write from scratch. But to appease this director, to use it to my advantage, I use ChatGPT. And I'm not ashamed of it because she doesn't bother me anymore. I don't see the inside walls of HR's office anymore. So yeah, it's not something I'll ever be shy about to use ChatGPT. Yeah, so currently I'm here in Durban. Again, big cultural difference. Big cultural difference, not just UK. Okay. And the thing I want to say that has been the same from job number 1 to the current job I have, I was obsessed with learning. Trust me, even though I love books, you will not see me sitting in front of a biology anatomy what book. I don't do that. I can't. It's too bland for me. That's why my webinar, I chose to share what I do. I'll watch a video. I'll think in my mind, you're watching a series, because you can't tell me that for 20 hours straight, you can watch How I Met Your Mother without flinching, and you can't watch a 15-minute video and learn a little skill. So that's how I put my mindset. Fake it till you make it. I faked telling myself, this is a series. You can binge watch it. You will binge watch it because it's to your benefit. So that I was obsessed with learning. I am quite efficient with Excel now. There's some things that I just do. And when someone tells me, listen, can you teach me that? I'm like, I can't. I just know how to do it. I don't know how I'm doing it. I'm just doing it because I found a way how to do it that works for me. Because even after all these years, I understood why math I was just not good at it because I always had that thing of doing it the untraditional way. Why should there only be one way to get to the answer two if I can do it my way and still get the answer two? And that's what needs people just need to do it that way. Just forget about the traditional way. Do it your way that works for you. Adapt to life in general that works for you. There can be millions of people that give webinars, that gives presentation on how life works. It will not work for everyone. So
Yeah.
adapt to life. Don't adapt to life. Make life adapt to you. That's the best way, I think. So, yes.
We want to ask, what was your reaction when you get an unexpected result of your Microsoft interview? As you have said, you have not expected that you will get select. So what was your reaction?
I laughed at him, number one. I laughed at him because I thought he was a scammer because I thought this job was not, legit. Because why would you tell someone, no, you got the job interview, but for a fact, I know I messed that up. But again, I had that traditional view on how an interview goes. I forgot that life is unpredictable.
Yeah.
So you will never, ever see me do things the traditional way. I don't know if you saw from my previous PowerPoint to now, I adapted to you guys because Priya, you told me captivate the audience. I watched TikTok videos on my work laptop on how to captivate the audience with PowerPoint. Now, at
You
work,
have
I need to.
you have done your job very well this time, I must say.
I tried because I was forced to adapt.
Yeah, that's
You know,
good. You have tried new thing. That's very good.
absolutely. And it works for me. And because it was nice doing this, I learned something. You guys invested something in me. You guys saw, listen, this is going to be a nice person to volunteer with a door. You invested that in me, and I'm reinvesting in you guys. Untraditional ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was very shocked, and I did not want to believe that I got the job because where I'm from to where I'm living now is about a 9-hour drive. So I think part of me didn't want to believe it because it meant that I would be back with my partner. And it just sounds so unreal because we were talking about like salaries and benefits and stuff. And I'm like, wow, this is so different to what I'm used to hearing. And I don't have a lot to bring to the table, not at all, because what they wanted me to do was different. Remember, when I was at the medical billing company, I was a credit controller, but with a system that did half the work. Where now, because the UK is against fraud and they have a different privacy act, you have to do everything by yourself. You need to read in the client's data, what they owe, how old it is, whatever, by hand. So again, I had to adapt. So I was very shocked to hear. But it made me realize again, traditional ways, it needs to die out because it's making people negative. Traditional, being so traditional makes you negative. Because if something unpredictable happens, oh no, what am I going to do? My life is over. Instead of being excited, like, whew, okay, this happened. Newsflash, you need to go do research on how this is going to work from now on. And again, there you learn a soft skill. I don't know if you guys. Yes, you're interrupting.
I'm sorry to
I
interrupt.
no problem at all. So I don't know if you guys saw some of the new modern CVs doesn't have your normal skills. They have soft skills and they have hard skills on it. And I was like, what are these people talking about? Like soft skills, easy to learn, hard skills, very hard to learn. What? And when I did my research, it meant that soft skills, everything you taught yourself that you are good at. Hard skills is something you earned a certificate for, as in there's a company, or organization, whatever, that provided you the professional training, as in health and safety, you can't really learn yourself because you need that certification. But Excel, PowerPoint, Canva, even, it's like Adobe, which is free. Those are the soft skills. And I'm like, you know what? The world is trying to change. It just needs more people to keep it going. Because unfortunately, yes, even change does happen. It has a tendency, if it's not, being forced daily, to go back to the normal ways. So I was so excited to see. Like on this slide, in every interview that I had, I made sure they knew I was willing to learn. It's tiring, it's time consuming, but I made them understood. Whatever you want me to learn, regardless of the position, if I need to learn how to sweep the floor instead with your traditional broom, an electronic one, so be it. I'll read the manual throughout the night and come back tomorrow and know how to use that automatic broom. But you need to make them understand that you are a good investment. And making them understand you're a good investment, you need to believe you are one. Yes, faking it is easy. Believing it, there's the hard thing. Anyone can fake anything, but not everyone can believe in it. So to make a company understand as a young person, listen, I'm going to be straight with you. I do not have your advanced level of Excel. I understand the basics, but invest in me a week and I'll show you how advanced I can learn it. So obviously you're giving yourself a time frame and you are telling them, just give me a chance. Most of the time they will, because they don't need to spend money on you to teach you, because you're teaching yourself. Every company wants to save money, isn't it? So sometimes you need to, I wouldn't say lie or something. It's not lying if you tell them, listen, give me a week, I'll be advanced. But there's so many resources. You can tell them, listen, I do have a certificate, I am advanced, whatever. But they don't need to know that it's from Allison, the certificate, and what. They just want to hear the word certificate. So it's not about being the best of the best. And I had to learn that the hard way, unfortunately, because I had a lot of interviews and I did not get every single one. I got very constructive feedback that was not nice to hear, but I had to make that decision to do something about it. Oh, your CV is quite bland, huh? Okay, it hurts, but let's do something about it. Let's go get an Excel training course done. Some of them are free. So why not? Why allow people's negative feedback to bother you? Let it inspire you, motivate you, because it's something that you can use. Um, so yeah, make sure that you know you're a good asset. If you know you're someone that can put in everything and a little bit extra, why not share it? Share it with a company. I'll give you everything I have and a little bit extra, because in the long run, you will be able to use that to your advantage. Oh, HR, do you remember, since we're having our little performance review, I started not knowing how to use Excel. Now I help the data analyst with his Excel formulas. Don't you think it's time to invest back into me? I would like to go study this on your expense. Why not? Because it will always be a win-win situation. Obviously, take in consideration, we're not robots. So don't think you're going to learn everything in a week. Excel is something, because I use it every day. I can continuously learn because I will use it every day. Some skills, like PowerPoint, I don't use every day. So I will need to reinvest in myself to use it. Obviously, I know not everybody wants to go into finance or engineering and stuff. Some people just wants to be a teacher, but you can still do it. Learn a PowerPoint presentation on how to get kids to look at it. I mean, you're being a teacher, you need to adapt to a lot of environments in one class. But do that. Every single child will have a different way of learning. So make sure as a teacher, you know how to learn that way. So the one kid will know how to do your class or pass it. But if you have 30 kids there, you yourself will have learned 30 new skills. Imagine how rewarding is that on a CV. And it's just the way of wording it. So, I was talking about the webinar resources. I know a lot of people is like, oh, but Lana, I don't have the money, or I don't have the time, or stuff like that, or no, my company doesn't want to do it. It's okay. Think on your feet again. There's a lot of free resources that can help you. Like I said, ChatGPT, it's free. Everybody loves that word, free. There's Allison. Yes, you do pay for some courses, but it's not the same amount cost-wise as you would in a university. And a company cannot tell you, oh, but you did Excel, the same basics and everything as this person that freaking spent money on a university. They can't tell you it's not the same thing. They just can't. You learned the same thing. You were just smarter. So, yeah.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
May I say something?
Yes.
Okay, ma'am. As your present self, what would you like to say to your past version, like the past Philana you have known? What advice would you like to give her, if possible? Like, if she approached you, like she's going to step into this journey of unconventional paths, like what suggestion or what message would you like to give her?
Start, there's no time like the present. The best time to have started was yesterday. The second best is today. I wish I knew what I knew now in grade freaking 5, because it would have definitely made it a bit easier. But obviously, I still think, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't tell her something. This is such a nice journey to go on. Just let her be. So yeah, it's I wouldn't give advice. I would say go on this journey. I would love to go on this journey again. I'm telling you, it definitely it has so much of rewards. I mean, I'm 22, and when I think of my friends and stuff who are still studying, who have this one girl, she studied astrophysics. She doesn't have a job. She's not getting a job because a degree of such high caliber sounded so good, but the world doesn't really need any more of those people because we can build a robot to do that for us, but you can't build a robot to think on its own feet. It still needs a human input. So, yeah, I would definitely tell myself if you ever go the traditional way, I will come back and I will haunt you. Just stay
So,
unconventional.
so
Yeah, that's
ma'am,
my
at the
advice.
end, can we say this the labels like conventional, unconventional doesn't matters really, but the thing matters is how you make yourself different from others, how you stand out in the crowd, right? Can we say this?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Stand out in a crowd. I can tell you, it does not matter how socially acceptable you are or not acceptable. There will always be a person that negatively thinks about you. So go either way. Be yourself because you will never please everyone in the room. I can promise you that. Um, so, a question, you have left your comfort zone many times for different jobs. So, what advice you would want to give to the youth who are afraid to leave their comfort zone? It's scary. I'm not gonna lie. I am scared every single time. Every single time, because obviously everybody wants that comfort zone, When something bad happens, you can just go to that safe space. But remember that safe space will make you fade into the crowd. Why would you want to be the same as everyone else? If we were supposed to be made like everyone else, we would look the same, talk the same, there would not never be any constructive feedback, no constructive debating, nothing. And if everybody stayed in their comfort zone, there wouldn't be organizations like Adore, would there? Because here are like-minded people explaining how they are not like-minded. We have the same belief of that we want to inspire, but there's so many different aspects on the how that it just comes together. So even though it's scary, it's like being a kid being scared of the dark. Eventually you'll know there's not a monster in there. There's not a monster hiding in the dark. So why were you scared in the first place? But it is a journey. I'm not going to lie. It's a journey for a kid to be taught not to be scared of the dark. So you're going to need to teach yourself, to stop being afraid of going outside your comfort zone. And if it takes a month, if it takes you a day, if it takes you years, that's okay, as long as you get to that point where you're outside your comfort zone. Then it doesn't matter how long it takes you. It's that journey that needs to happen because you get out of your first comfort zone, you get an adrenaline rush. Okay, that's not so bad. The second thing comes, you need to go out of another comfort zone. You're like, okay, it's getting easier. Later on, you're going to be adrenaline junkie. You're not going to care. You're not going to have that fear anymore. You're not. like talking to people, it gets easier and easier, even though I don't necessarily, enjoy speaking to 10,000 of people. But I got to that point where I can look people in the eye. I can speak to 10 people now. So eventually I'll get to 10,000. So yeah, it's a journey to go on to get out of your comfort zone. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay.
So on this one, I know a lot of people talk about money. But yeah, Lana, you're talking about this and that, but a degree gets me money. It gets me benefits. I'm like, absolutely. Don't get me wrong. A degree is lovely, gets you a lot of zeros, but money can be stripped away in an instant. You can be the best freaking medical director of the surgical ward. If that money runs out and you can't get paid anymore, boom, retrenched. It's done and dusted. But yes, you got retrenched, but they can't take away that knowledge of being the director of the surgical ward, now can they? So you're like, okay, I got retrenched. This is not nice. The money is gone, but at least that knowledge can be implemented somewhere else. Another hospital, another ward. Another question. What would you advise between being an expert in one skill or being good in many? This is interesting. So, I would say even being an expert in one skill does not say you're only an expert in one skill. You're telling me that as an engineer, let's say on a construction company, you only know how to work with metal. You only know how to build a house out of metal. No, you're not. As an engineer, you have the skill to know how to work with metal buildings, how to make sure that a wood house does not get blown away and everything. Those are different skills. And you can absolutely put that on your CV. Every single person, regardless if it's a cardiologist, that by the way specialized in being able to work with hearts, still had to start to know how to identify a flu in someone, still had to do those basic 7 years of different skills to be a GP and then go into cardiology. So I don't think that if you say you're expert in only one skill, I don't think there's something like that, because it's the different skills that come together to create that one topic. So yeah, I would say everybody, obviously you would know a bit more of one skill, but you'll still have a lot of skills you know something about, even if it's just one job role or something like that. So yeah, that's my advice or opinion.
Thank you.
No problem. So I always say that knowledge is absolute power, regardless if there's a certificate attached. Oh, technical difficulty again. But it's only powerful if you use it. You can be like the question that was now asked. You can be a jack of all trades. That's a lot of knowledge. Kudos to you. But if you don't use those skills, what value do they then have? If you can tell me, but I have a doctorate in literature, but you're someone sweeping the streets, what is that doctorate actually worth? So again, there are T's and C's apply to this whole session that I had. Don't invest your time, your effort, your emotions, whatever, in knowledge that you're never going to use, because it's going to be a waste. Do it in something that keeps you occupied, that keeps you intrigued. I never thought that I would be good at numbers, but at the bar, I became senior bar lady because I can pick up regarding stock take everything. If we were a pence over, a pence under, missing money here, oh no, we double charged here, exactly. And I, out of my head, knew exactly who drink what and how much it is each. And I did not know I did that, but I did. At the courier company, I exactly knew how many parcels each person would come pick up, especially if they were regulars. I did not know I did that. And that's at the courier company. I started doing Excel because then I had a computer or a system just assist me because, the quantities got more and more. I got medical billing company. I was very good to know who was the regular person going to see my doctors and what they, you know, average of, spending was and what I can send to a medical aid and this medical aid because in South Africa we have different medical aids, a lot. I'm telling about 25 different medical aids, different rates, everything. But without knowing it, I was good at remembering those rates. And now with this company, I work with terminally ill children. I work with people that try to commit suicide. Now they need 24-hour care. There are different packages. I'm dealing with 65 different packages. But for each and every one, I know what we're allowed to charge, how many nurses to send. So I invested my time in something that I'm good at because I use it every day. I get excited to learn something that builds onto that base knowledge. Don't do something you don't love because I can tell you, keeping yourself positive in a job you don't love, you'll never be positive ever because it's not something you love. It's not something you want to invest in. Why invest now in a Nokia that freaking breaks the bricks if you fall it and stuff like that when you can invest in a new iPhone because that's something you know new, modern, can help you and stuff. Don't invest in something you're never gonna use. It's a waste. So yeah, guys, that was my little chitter chatter. Priya, I hope it's longer than 15 minutes.
Thank
Yeah,
you. Thank you so much.
this time
So
you have
yeah,
done very good job, I must say. And you have you have taken seriously my advice that I have given you.
yeah,
That's
no,
very
again, you forced me to adapt. So yeah. So has anyone any questions from
Ma'am,
beginning
hello.
to end? Yes.
Ma'am, I think we have arrived at the end of your presentation or entire experience journey. So, ma'am, as we have arrived at the end, could you please share with us one final word from your end or a line that would motivate us as youngsters to choose our paths wisely from your journey? Anything
Hmm.
that you want to put forward?
I would say motivate yourself. This journey can become lonely. I'm not going to lie. Some people you will need to leave behind because they don't want to leave their comfort zone. And that's okay. Because leaving someone behind that does not want to leave their comfort zone creates a space for someone else that wants to do the same as you. And it helps because you can motivate each other like that. Even though the career journey will be something you need to do by yourself, make space for the people that think like you. Obviously, I believe in constructive debate. So make sure it's not a mirror copy of you, but someone that shares the beliefs. It makes a big difference in any journey at any point that you are in. I would say that it does help.
Thank you, Ms. Philana. Thanks a lot for sharing your such an unconventional journey and such a great experience. We got to learn many things from your entire experience. So I request all the participants in this uh, webinar or today's session to submit their doubts in the chat box if you have any, and Ms. Liana will answer. Ms. Philana will answer them accordingly.
Yes, more than welcome to.
And I'm sharing the registration link. Or sorry, the feedback link.
feedback.
Kindly share your feedback link. Kindly share your valuable feedbacks for this session.
Yes.
That too, I'll be sharing in the chat box. And let's wait for 2 minutes and see if anyone has any questions from the audience.
No problem. And if you guys want to give me some constructive feedback, I accept it full-heartedly. If there's something you guys want me to change, go for it. It's a pleasure, Jadeep. think everybody left. And then, yeah. Oh, this was so nice.
It was very interactive session, I must say.
You did ask, so I accepted the challenge.
Yeah, very
I
well.
think, ma'am, we have come to end of our session. So let me give the concluding speech. And, okay, so as we are near the closing ceremony, before we depart, I, along with my team, would like to thank Ms. Philana, Sir Dinesh, Ma'am Simran, Pradipta Mukherjee, sir, and all the responsible members for making our webinar a successful. ADOR is a global network of students and young professionals like ourselves, all passionate about inspiring you to make a positive impact. We connect you with established professionals and offer a platform to earn from their journeys. And so, if you're interested, you can visit our website and get more information. We have shared a link in the chat box. We request everyone to give their valuable feedback. Once again, thank you everyone for joining the webinar. Now the webinar is complete. You may leave the meeting. Thank you everyone. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
It was really great connecting with you.
It was very nice connecting with all of you too. Thank you. Bye.
Bye, ma'am.